Hey there, my name is Miss Townsend and I love math. Welcome to Math with Townsend. This video is for grade 10 academic students who are looking at their summative questions. So in the first section on analytic geometry and linear systems, this is question 3, but it's only part 1 of question 3 because it's kind of a long question to do. So I had to break it into 2 videos. So here's the question. It says draw the triangle with vertices P, Q, and R. So there it is, P, Q, and R. I've already drawn it. Pretty easy, use a ruler. Then B, determine the equations of the medians from each vertex of triangle PQR. So let's make sure we really understand what a median is. So here is my definition of a median, and hopefully yours as well. A median is a line. So a median is a line that in a triangle that passes through one vertex and also through the midpoint of the opposite side of the triangle. Um, I'm a visual learner. I need to see it to understand it. So here's the triangle we're looking at in this question. Again, triangle PQR. And let's look at this definition again. A median is a line in a triangle that passes through one vertex. So let's pick a vertex. Here's a Q right here. It passes through one vertex and also through the midpoint of the opposite side of the triangle. So the opposite side from Q would be PR. So it passes through the midpoint of PR. So there exists some sort of line called a median that goes through Q and through that midpoint. So let's give that midpoint a name so we can talk about it. Let's call it J for no reason. So this is point J. It's the midpoint of PR. And this median line goes through Q and J. So I think we need to start, therefore, by finding the coordinates of J. And again, the coordinates of J can be found by finding the midpoint of PR. I know, I wrote Q there. I was hoping you wouldn't notice. There. So we need the midpoint of PR. So we know the midpoint formula. So we can do -5 plus 3 over 2, -5 plus 3, and we can do 1 plus -3 over 2. And that gives us -5 plus 3 is -2, -1, and -1. So that's point J. So now we know the coordinates of point J. And on my diagram, I wasn't too far off. So now when we look at this line, we can say that this is a line that passes through Q and J. And that's all I know about the line, but that's all I need to know about the line. You may remember from grade 9, all you need to find the equation of a line are 2 points on that line. And that's what we have. We have point Q and we have point J. So let's go to the next page where I have some room to do math. So point Q is the point -3, 5, and point J is -1, -1. And we need the line that passes through QJ. So what do we remember about lines? Well, they all start like this, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So every line, the first thing that crosses your mind should be, what is the slope? I don't know, but I can sure find it using the slope formula. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So I have -6 over +2, so I have a slope of -3. And because I have a diagram, does this look roughly like -3? It's certainly negative, and it could be steep enough. So I'm pretty confident in my answer. So now I have the slope of that line. So start again. Instead of y equals mx plus b, now I know the slope. So I can say that y equals -3x plus b. So how do I find b? Well, if either of my points were the y-intercept, I would be done. But this is not a y-intercept, and this is not a y-intercept. So therefore, I've got to do a bit more math. So I'm going to take one of my points, and it doesn't matter which one. I'm going to take point Q. And again, point Q is -3, 5. And whenever you have a point, you have an x and a y value that would satisfy this line. And that's exactly how we do the next set of math. We do a substitution for y, and we do a substitution for x, taking this point. You could have also taken j, just don't mix and match. I'm taking q. So x is -3, y is 5, and I just have to solve for b. So b is -4. And that means I know the equation of the median line from q. It was y equals slope x, y-intercept. -3 was the slope, the y-intercept was -4, and that's the median from q. Now, if your teacher is really interested in standard form, I can't blame them, I like standard form myself, then you would change it into standard form like this. That's a 0. So there's the median from q. Now that's only one of the medians, and every triangle has 3. So let's keep going. So let's review. We are finding a median based on this triangle, and here are the coordinates so that I use the right numbers. So we already did Q, let's do R. And I'm doing R for a reason, it's going to take us longer. So a median is a line in a triangle that passes through one vertex. This time we're going to use vertex R. And also through the midpoint of the opposite side of the triangle. So if this is R, the opposite side must be PQ. So roughly, here's the midpoint. And since the last one was J, this one will be K. I like to go alphabetically. So there is a line that passes through K and R. Yeah, it's a straight line, close enough. And we need to know the equation of that line because that is the median from R, which means I need to know what point K is, which means I need the midpoint of PQ. So here's point P, here's point Q. So x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. That gives me -8/2 and 6/2. So this is what we're calling point K. And again, my graph is there to really help me make sure it makes sense. Boy, that sure makes sense, right? So there's point K. And this red line goes through K and R. So here's point R. So I now have 2 points, and I want to find the equation of the line. So again, let's go to the next page. So I have R at 3, -3, and I have K, make sure I get it right, at -4, 3. And to find the equation of a line, you always start by finding slope. Slope formula. So y2 minus y1. So y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So 3 plus 3 is 6 over -7. So that's -6/7 for a slope. So now I know that the equation of my line looks like this because I found the slope. Now, are either of the points that I know y-intercepts? Nope, because neither of them have a 0 here. So I'm going to take one of my points. I'll take R. So here's R. It's the point 3, -3. And again, when you have a point, you have an x value and a y value that you can use in the equation. And that's exactly what we do. We do a substitution for x and y, and that will allow us to solve for the unknown b. So obviously we have to be good at fractions. So I need to make this a fraction. Top times the top is -18. Bottom times the bottom is 7, and that doesn't reduce. Isolating b, I'm going to add 18/7 to both sides. So b is isolated. Oops, b is isolated, but I need to clean up my math, which means I need to get a common denominator of 7. -21 plus 18 is -3. There's my value for b, and again, that fraction doesn't reduce. So I found slope, and then I found b. So I now have the equation. Y equals negative 6 over 7 x, and then the y-intercept is negative 3 over 7. That's the median from R. And you can, again, go back to the graph and really quickly look. Do I have a y-intercept that's about negative point whatever and a slope that's down 6 over 7? Yeah, that's negative point whatever, and it's definitely a negative slope, so I'm pretty happy with my answer. Again, is your teacher really into standard form? Let's make sure it's in standard form then. So I need to get rid of my fractions. I'm going to multiply by 7. So 7y equals negative 6x minus 3. And then move these to the left of the equal sign where the sign changes. And there it is in standard form. So that's the median from R. We're not done. We found the median from Q and the median from R. We have one more median to find. Luckily, I looked ahead of time. This one's going to not take us nearly as long. Just because of coincidence. And the random numbers in this triangle mean that one of them is a little easier. That's all. So we found the median from P. No, we found the median from Q. We found the median from R. So this one has to be the median from P. So a median is a line in a triangle that passes through one vertex, P, and also through the midpoint of the opposite side of the triangle. So the midpoint of QR is what we need. And I have JK, so this one's obviously going to be L. So there's going to be a line, something like this. It's going to be the median from P. So I know the coordinates of P. I don't know the coordinates of L. Let's find them. So the midpoint of QR. So x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2. Boy, my pen is getting tired or something. Pardon me. Okay, so I had x1 plus x2, y1 plus y2 over 2. And so that gives me 0 and 1. So L is at about 0, 1, pretty close. So again, now I know that this line, the median from P, passes through P right here. There's the coordinates. And L right here. Now, some of you may already be noticing what makes this line a little easier to work with algebraically if you look carefully at the y-intercepts. But let's pretend we don't notice, just in case people don't notice. So again, oops, we're not ready for that. I have point P at the point negative 5, 1. And I have the point L at the point 0, 1. And if I try to find slope, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So I get a slope of 0 over 5, which is a slope of 0. Now, hopefully you remember, slope of 0 means this is a horizontal line. So I guess, I could adjust this and make it look perfect, but it's pretty close to a horizontal line even in my messy diagram. So a slope of 0 is a horizontal line. Let's say you totally spaced and forgot that. Okay, well maybe you would keep going. And you would say y equals 0x plus b. And then you would sub in a point like L, and you would get negative 1 equals 0, 0 plus b. So b equals negative 1. We kind of knew that already, didn't we? So y equals 0x minus 1. So y equals negative 1. Now, hopefully you didn't have to do all that math. You know that a horizontal line simply has the equation y equals something. And in this case, it was y equals negative 1. If you want that in standard form, here you go. And that's the median from P. So that's only part of question 3. Look for my next video where I finish this long question.